Cassiopeia remains in the ban section. I like that from Misfits. And the adaptation, it's now Vladimir that's out of here. So what does that leave through? The LeBlanc that was banned in every single game is up.
And
if
the Gragas,
they'll even pick it.
The Gragas is first pick this time too, and this has pretty much been the entire series as the junglers have been fighting over this pickup, and it'll fall back into Misfits' hands.
So Origen, likely Trundle and rek'sai if everything else is to go by. That was games 2 and game 3 for their first rotation. Sivir is available if they want it for Peke. He did some marvelous kiting earlier.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was a highlight, that's for sure.
Maybe they can take away the Ashe that we just saw come out from Hans Sama, which actually gave Misfits a bit of a breath of fresh air. Like the extra engage potential was good for them, so Origen taking it away.
Yeah, Trundle's locked in by Origen as well, so they'll be able to flex that one between Hybrid and Soaz. We'll see how that goes this time around. Back to Misfits on their rotation.
Yeah, so for Misfits, this is normally where they've been picking up the Vlad. Now when it's been available, looking for the top lane matchup, if they want it again. They did that in games 2 and 3, but we have had a change up in the pace. Gangplank is still up. Now, Alphari is a good Gangplank player, but we haven't seen too much of it out of him.
Well, definitely been prioritizing something a little bit different last games. Let's see what Misfits decide to lock in here in the last couple rotations. A lot of AD carries still up and available. They switch things up for their duo lane. They've definitely done it quite a bit.
Sivir braum should be able to deal with this Ashe.
And they lock it.
Okay, Sivir into Trundle's a rough one if you end up doing it down in the bottom lane, but still, a braum should offset some of what Ashe is looking to bring to the party. So, we're looking at likely mid lane and jungle here. rek'sai available. Amazing, we know he's played the likes of Olaf before. They've got the Ashe to start the fights if Olaf wants to run in, but Karma is available as well. So that could be a pairing for the Origen lineup if they want to go for it. The Hecarim hasn't really been touched by Amazing in this series, but we've seen it a lot from Memento, gaining Player of the Series over on EU LCS 2 today.
Yeah.
The rek'sai is there as well.
Might be time for a change. I mean, well, the rek'sai has been pretty much the, if I don't have Gragas. So, you know, I mean, everything's on the line. Like, this is a huge, huge game. You win this one, you're in LCS, and if you lose, well, you're going to have to do a whole nother one all over again, and after going 5 games in a row, that is just so mentally exhausting. Origen, the last few seconds, look to pick up the rek'sai unless they switch it over.
Down to the last couple of seconds on the swap over. And for the game to save his LCS spot, PowerOfEvil is locking in the champion he has played for years and years to try and save his spot. It's the Syndra. It's his pick.
Comfort does not go nearly far enough when you talk about PowerOfEvil and Syndra. This is a signature pick. Is it going to be enough to save Origen? Get them a spot in the 2017 LCS Spring Split. Misfits on their side. The Karma was available. So is the GP. Not too much hesitation. They locked that right in.
Locked in for Misfits. Karma into Syndra. And finally a lock-in quickly from Origen on that ekko against the Gangplank. We heard Trashy talking about LCK playing the ekko specifically into the GP. Alphari has a pretty mean Gangplank that we saw in Challenger. We'll see whether he's quite the same into Soaz ekko here.
Hasn't lost on it. See what he's able to get done this time around. That's a lot of wave clear on their side now.
A lot of crowd control on Origen.
And a lot of engage on both teams. They've been butting heads all series long. I can't wait to see how it goes out again.
So Selfie is not playing the same role, though, this time around. Selfie is playing a utility role in which he will not be able to basically attempt to 1v5 anyway. He'll have some damage, but he is not the same as the Vlad that he's had with 4 games.
Given how at least one of their games ended, that might be a good thing.
It could be a good thing, could be a bad thing.
Yeah. It's also rocking that cleanse, too. Deal with PowerOfEvil.
Yeah.
It's going to be real bloody, that's for sure.
See if PowerOfEvil can scatter the weak and catch out some of Misfits, who haven't really looked particularly weak in the last few games.
The few games. The final time the coach is shaking hands and walking off stage, and after a long, drawn-out series, it all comes down to this. I love it when these kind of series happen because it's not just a team takes a game, but the manner in which it went down, it was just absolutely insane. Now, who's going to make LCS off this one? If you think it's Misfits, the new kids on the block, tweet hashtag MSFWin. And of course, if you think Origen's going to preserve theirs, hashtag OGWin over LoL Esports for the final time. Today, we'll find out who takes it as we get ready to load up onto the Rift.
Game 5 in this series, a series that has shown us just about everything that everybody was anticipating. We've all been right, we've all been wrong. The hype has been there in some of the crushing wins for Misfits, but also Origen being able to stand up in Game 1, Game 3 with very strong performances.
Oh, yeah.
So if you were banking on this being a 3-0 like a lot of people were, you clearly have not been paying attention, because we are into game number 5.
Let's see if we end up getting those standard lanes once again. So far, so good. Hans Sama and Ignar, they've shown they definitely came to tango. Xpeke pushes him back with a volley. Be the end of that to start things off. But otherwise, line of scrimmage around the map.
If we end up in standard lanes for another game, we will remind you that Misfits have not had the same luck in standard lanes that they did in Challenger.
That's
We're
true.
probably getting bored of that. But I know, obviously, we had a lot of viewers joining us from EU LCS 2 that came over. So it has not quite been the same story
We
as
haven't
Challenger.
had that many true lane swaps. Really only one, and that was kind of like a spot for spot. Game 1 was like a blind sniff out that ended up in Australia lanes.
Where Origen actually then lane swapped and had a very good push.
Yeah, I mean, they did basically, in a much more low-kill fashion, to Misfits what Misfits did to them last game.
Yeah, Misfits doing that to Origen, though, was a lot more bloody. A lot more
Yeah, no kidding.
tough to watch. But Origen are in the lane swap. We've had it confirmed now.
Start things off. Okay, so Selfie takes his place in mid, but everything else, yeah, very standard. The lane swap for Origen did not want to face that one down, so we will be settling in for all things. Big difference, though, Soaz is actually in lane versus the double jungle that's getting stopped here by Hybrid.
Hybrid's doing the same again.
Exhaust?
This in game 2.
Oh, yeah.
Just trying to get as much damage down as he can while the Wolf is still alive. We'll back away after. The fact that Soaz is in lane, though, is just because of how deep Ignar has gone. So Soaz is trying to just get anything that he can here, farm and experience-wise, and then TP top, which is likely to be the next step for him, because you can see the gangplank is still with Gragas, going around the double jungle. So Soaz has to be careful, because he's only got about 10 seconds left before that GP ends up in his lane, and he gets dove 4v1, so he's going to TP out.
Yeah, now he knows. Not going to be staying any longer than that, so we get into the good old lane swap cam. Origen a little bit quicker on the draw with that one between Xpeke and Hybrid. But, as you can see, the rest of Misfits have arrived down bottom side.
Going to see that middle lane matchup. Not one we see very often here in Europe,
No?
that's Syndra.
It always would be PowerOfEvil.
Yeah, PowerOfEvil for a long time refused to play Syndra, though. There were a couple of bugs and, you know, just things that made her kit not quite as responsive. A lot of them got fixed a while ago, but still he doesn't feel overly confident in the performance on it.
He's played it at least once this split.
He has. He does bring it out from time to time. Generally just a very strong pick for him, but some of the executions on some of the stuns from historically have been a little janky.
It's a tricky champion too. You know, not bugs are not bugs. It's still difficult. And power, you know, the play style that he does embody, very emblematic.
Yeah.
Selfie's gonna have to watch his step.
I think it's just one of those things that I wanted to give a little bit of context, because a lot of people are always like, well, why doesn't Froggen always play Anivia? Why doesn't PowerOfEvil always play Syndra? It's like, sometimes there are reasons
It's not
outside of
special if you play it every game. Come on, guys.
Tell that to Season 3 Froggen.
Well, it's been a long time.
As
That's why bans exist.
I do like seeing, you know, signature picks. I like it.
Yeah. There's no Draven for Hans Sama, though.
No, I'm a little sad about that. But Draven, I mean, we've only seen it a handful of times, and it's one of those go big or go home kind of picks.
Well, and you know, Freeze has been the only one who's been employing it here in the European LCS, and he's had a lot of trouble.
Yeah, well, again, I don't know whether that's like because Draven or because Freeze and his injury.
Might be both,
so
to be honest.
It could be both.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a little out of the scope of this game. Origen starting things off. They actually trade a little bit quicker. You can see the tower was actually saved by Origen. So a pretty big deal. Gives them, you know, the gold edge at the moment.
Always reminds me of when I was casting PowerOfEvil back at some UK tournaments a while back when he briefly subbed for some UK lineups. He was one of the first guys that I had ever really seen, aside from Bjergsen, be able to get the timing down on the Q into Scat of the Week. Basically that it was being pushed right as the Q spawned. Like, you couldn't even see it coming at you at first. Syndra players these days, that is kind of just built into everything that Syndra does. It's one of those things that players over time just add that to their kit. But when you see the first people start to do it, it's fairly impressive. And I just remember back like 2.5, 3 years ago, just how impressed I was the first time I would see it. But
yeah. I mean, things become standard after a while, right? When the Shurima Shuffle was invented, like, everyone was like, whoa, and now you're just like, oh, okay, cool, he does that.
That's the thing, is like when Insect brought out the Insect, same thing. Now you don't play
It's just we don't have a cool name for it with Syndra.
Hans Sama a lot of damage.
Yeah, that was not a great trade. I mean, Misfits have been on the back foot here because they weren't able to finish off the tower.
And that right there highlights the difficulty of sivir into trundle, because you can't actually spell shield the trundle pillar. You get nudged aside and you get slowed off it, and you kind of hurt a lot. But speaking of hurting, Soaz right now, big CS lead.
Yep.
A little bit of an experience lead as well.
Lamabear's hanging around too, see if he can get some help. And Hybrid does find Ignar and Hans Sama here in this bottom side. I'm curious to see what Ignar does on this braum. He's played a whole load of different champions this game, or this series, I should say. So far, though, in the standard, or in the post-swap standard lanes, it did get a little bit weird because of the fact that Misfits could not push that tower.
But it's really hurting Alphari right now. 8 CS, he had to shove a big wave up into Soaz. And Soaz just kind of accepts it, stays further ahead. But because of this 2v2 in the bottom lane, there's no real way of actually Misfits capitalizing on that. And as you said, it's all because they couldn't push the tower down.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big mistake. You can't afford to make that, especially not to a team that is fighting for their LCS lives right now. The last game. I don't know how many people would have guessed it would have been a full 5 games of this series. So full credit to them.
Yeah, credit to him. But this is a big, big issue for Misfits right now. It probably overlooked that at the time, just how serious this is, that they can't get their gangplank into the game. Just the fact that the turret survives on 600 health is really, really oppressive on the fact that Alphari cannot farm at all.
Yeah.
So Misfits have to kind of somehow break this, and the problem is Alphari is trying to get up into the lane to farm, but look at where Amazing is pathing now. He's coming out behind him. He's spotted by the Rift Spirit, so Alphari has to back himself away. But this draws Lamabear up into the top lane.
Once again, yeah, Alphari is just pushed so far back right now. There's a lot of juicy minions there for him to try and go for, but he's forced to put barrels in very defensive positions, and Soaz can just leisurely keep on taking the baseball bat, and that's such a massive CS difference. We're talking 50 to 8.
Massive, huge, huge disparity between the two, and it's because Misfits decided to back away from that turret.
Yeah.
They didn't think they quite had the timing on it, so very, very strange start to this game. But, you know, this is what all LCS teams are expected to be able to do in the lane swap, is have phase 1 and 2 solid. Here come Origen.
Yep.
You've spotted out Lamabear.
Was right there. They turn onto Amazing. Actually knock him back under tower. Great ult on that. Alphari, though, he's in trouble as Power unleashes the power for first blood. No fighting here.
Soaz has his ultimate available.
Yeah, he's safe. I mean, all that farm, though, completely denied from Alphari.
And Alphari is only level 4 here, up against the level 7 Ekko. This is such a big disparity that, like, Misfits, if they don't somehow triage Alphari and get him into this game, they are going to lose this game very quickly if their gangplank is not able to ever get in.
Yeah, they can't afford to deal with a 5v4, that's for sure. 8 minutes in, and Origen have a big lead just off the fact that they've completely shut him down.
Origen are in prime position to hold on to this. You can see mid lane is even between the two. Bot lane, Hans Sama's a little behind Xpeke, but there's mostly the minions that is in the wave in front of him. Will end up about 1 or 2 CS ahead after clearing this out. But Xpeke is level 6. He's recalling now. Has access to that ultimate.
Alphari gets a brief respite here. He's able to farm up just a bit, but Soaz is already on his way back in. No flashes for either of the top laners, and if Origen want to start pushing this, there's an Infernal Drake on the map.
Alphari didn't even get 5 off that wave. Like, he's so far behind.
He's going to have to start taking jungle, yeah.
Soaz is actually going to be double Alphari's level if Alphari doesn't get experience from somewhere soon. I think Alphari's about to level up.
Amazing.
Yeah, he gets the small camps, hits level 5. So can't double his level yet. Very rare we even get close to that.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just such a weird situation, so unusual, and Amazing just continues to take things away from him as well. And the worst part is, Lamabear's pretty much just had to sit in that top lane for a lot of it. Now he's finally able to move things away. PowerOfEvil snatches the blue buff for himself, throws it into River, and takes it.
Yep.
Something I haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, it's always funny grabbing the camps. Used to be...
Remember when you used to be able to grab Baron for a short time?
I must say I actually don't remember that.
It was a very, very short time.
Okay. That's one of the things from the past I don't remember.
Yeah. I mean, that's like you go far back enough and things like Evelyn stacking 5 Sunfire capes used to make sense.
There's a lot of things.
That's farther back, by the way.
That don't make sense anymore, but what makes sense for Origen is get Soaz ahead and keep him ahead by having him triple Alphari's CS and then get
some.
Rift Herald buff as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a rough game for the gangplank.
I mean, Alphari basically needs to wait 30 minutes and farm up somehow.
Yep, late game.
Well, they do have it in that respect. They've got the sivir as well. But if Origen don't let up, this is a very tough game. Alphari shouldn't even be here. That's way too close.
This is rough. 3 levels. Yeah, Alphari, he has no flash. He's going to have to eat an orange.
Soaz still has his ult.
Yeah,
so it's fine.
oh boy. Oh, and he's out.
Yep. Soaz knew he had the ult. It looked like a lot closer than it should have been because of the way that he was going past the minions and into the turret, but still just completely shuts him down. 1 versus 1, kills him, takes everything, shoves it in, and again, another instance where Alphari is denied a lot of farm just from this top lane pressure. Like, Misfits have to change up something. They have to somehow bring Alphari down and maybe look to push because he's getting caught every single time he goes up to this wave.
Yeah, and he's getting no farm because it's timed so well that, you know, it just keeps evaporating on the tower. Or Lamabear has to go and clear it away or something like that. It's just so rough for this top lane gangplank. And that's making up a huge amount of this gold difference right now. Origen are 3,000 in the lead. They haven't elected to take a Drake yet, but at this point they might be able to just walk in and do it.
Alphari is fairly fortunate. There was one extra minion that was on about 1/3 of its health that survived off that wave. And what it means is the wave was still pushing in towards him rather than away from him. Because if that had slow pushed away from Alphari, that would have been catastrophic. Like, even worse than it is right now. He would have got no farm, wouldn't have been able to account for anything, would have had no lane to go to.
Origen quickly picking up the Infernal Drake. Allowed this again because Alphari is just set and stuck in this top lane. Now they look to fire down on this tower. Soaz looking to come in here, and Hans Sama and Ignar know it's going to be very tough to defend, and they give up the game.
Here, Alphari now has access to the
there's
ultimate,
farming.
so is able to get some farm and push them back away. So
Momentarily.
Finally starting to get a little bit of time, and the fact that they have seen Soaz down in that bottom lane gives them the time to do this. Alphari now up to level 7. Should be a little safer now from any 1v1 attempts out by Soaz. But Soaz is going to TP in and try his luck here.
Oh, and he does it, pops it a little bit early. So it's still going to go for the chase.
No, Alphari's still there.
Yeah.
Because he's going to run into PowerOfEvil. Okay.
Nowhere to go. Unleash the power. Scout of the week.
So,
Alphari certainly is, and Soaz claims another.
I was going to say Alphari did it for the movement speed, did it so he could run away, but then he runs right into PowerOfEvil, and that was the difference maker.
Maybe he could have flashed into, you know...
No, it wasn't worth it at that point,
Yeah.
Alphari, because Alphari knew he was gone. He was just trying to get the movement speed boost to get away from the situation and get a little bit of farm from it as well.
Yeah, it's just so rough. I mean, he's still going to eventually hit a power spike, but how long is it going to be? And Origen, as you said, if they don't let up, Misfits have very few options to get back into this game.
Yeah, their options are to end up grouping, essentially.
Well, they are good at that.
Yeah, they are good at it.
And they have a sivir comp.
Yeah, they have sivir, they have gangplank, they have a lot of damage from it. But that's going to take a lot longer time in this game. PowerOfEvil's fairly strong himself. Like, Amazing is going to have damage, Soaz is going to have damage too. So, with the engage potential from Origen and the pick potential, if Misfits are out of place at all, they're going to get caught out.
And Origen know this. They can throw their weight around the map considerably, wherever they want, for the most part. And you can see the vision starting to creep in there. Hans Sama has to be very, very careful to push this wave back, to keep on chunking it. Ignar was on the roam. Didn't do Hans any favors. Clearing out the ward in the tri-brush. So, Hybrid and Xpeke still growing their CS differential versus Hans Sama. And this might be the end of the tower. Hybrid just keeps on front-lining it up. No way they can save this one. Even more gold back into the Origen pockets.
And this series may be looking to end like it started, and that would be a macro misplay out from Misfits and just solid play from Origen.
Can you say that 5 times fast?
Which bit of it?
The macro misplay out of Misfits.
No, I could have said macro misplay a couple of times, but not with the by Misfits.
Good stuff.
Too many different.
Origen are going to grab another tower, though. I mean, they're just grouping way too fast. They can out-rotate really well here. And Xpeke's still going to save this tower.
They don't even get it. This is so painful. Oh, this is
Can't
really
make those
painful.
mistakes if you want to be an LCS.
And now again, Origen swing up to the top side. They'll try and push Alphari back from this tower. I wonder whether, like, the best thing that could happen is if somehow this tower dies and Origen accidentally slow push a big wave into Alphari when he's not gotten in the tower.
That's how you know the situation's bad. when that's the best case scenario for Misfits.
I don't think it's going to happen, though. Soaz has typically been fairly good at that, outside of a few overextensions.
And Alphari's actually backed off here. They're giving the farm over to Hans Sama.
Yeah, it's because Alphari's going to go bot lane and collect it because no one from Origen can actually kind of push him away. It's a little harder for them to get down there because of the way that Origen's vision is focused around the top side rather than the bottom side.
Selfie. Oh! In comes Lamabear. Oh, the Ashe arrow.
Is it really going to get him? If this gets him for the kill.
Downtown. It's dodged by Selfie.
He had enough time. Lamabear was the warning signal and had the shield. Whew, that would have been a long stun with the added range on that.
And that is why I like Jinx.
I was wondering where that goes. Yeah. Oh, we haven't seen Jinx in the meta for a while. Little too long to ramp up and little too immobile.
Yeah, you know, maybe one day.
Maybe.
Tom Kench support's still a thing.
That's true. Oh, that's so annoying to play against.
Yeah. I haven't seen it much today, though, at least not on this stream.
Ashe, I guess, is an ekko that's like 4 DCS up on you.
Yeah, that's the definition of annoying. But, I mean, this all stems from that one simple mistake.
I can't do easy maths. DCS.
Yeah.
It's okay. It felt like 4 TCS as a difference.
I mean, it's looked a bit better for him now that he's still been able to survive. But Soaz has been shoving him everywhere. And Origen, huge kudos to them for recognizing that weakness and just completely shutting it down time and again.
5,500 gold lead right now for Origen. I mean, Misfits, dare I say, hanging in with a question mark at the end of it.
I mean, it's so tough for them.
I feel like it's just Origen are playing this out cautiously, in a good way. Origen don't want to overextend and just give things back to Misfits, so they're going to wait for the Mountain Drake to come up. They're going to look to ward up. Then after that, they're going to take that Infernal Drake and the Mountain Drake that they've got, bait Baron, get a Baron, and try and end the game. Is basically the passage of play.
Alphari sees the parallel convergence coming down and just, yep, it's trouble. Big wave, though, coming up. See if he can actually clear this one away. The barrel will get the pop off, but not enough to get enough damage. And Soaz comes in. In comes Ignar.
Damage.
Just like that, but Soaz already half-healthed him.
Just the empowered auto off the phase dive with that Trinity Force proc. Just to half-healthed Alphari. He is 2 levels down and doesn't have his Trinity Force available.
Still working on it. I mean, Ignar kind of needs to sit. They need somebody to babysit him right now until he can get up to a solid level.
He has the money for his Triforce, but he doesn't want to lose any farm in this lane, so it means he doesn't want to recall.
And Soaz knows this, so he's hanging around.
Yep, trying to punish him.
Oh, boy. And speaking of punish, Origen can continue to do just that. Mountain Drake's up. Pekka and Hybrid are right there for it. And so is amazing.
Should be an easy take here. Origen are playing this very clean.
This is a lot like game 1.
Misfits aren't giving them too much over the last 5 or 6 minutes. There's not too much that's gone away. So Misfits are actually doing a decent job of kind of tucking in and trying to hold on to what they've got.
How well can they turtle, though, when the Dragons start stacking up? Baron's going to be a reality in a few minutes, and with how far ahead Origen are, I think you can actually start this and try to bait it out. Yeah,
exactly. Like, Origen will start to bait out Baron at some point because it forces Misfits to start using cooldowns, whether it's ultimates, TPs, that kind of thing. Misfits are running double TP, which is something we haven't talked about yet. Obviously, Karma, a very safe laner, will be able to assist in some of the wave clear, maybe to deny Origen in the side lanes and then TP into Baron. But certainly Misfits now have to play for a later game, much later game with this gangplank. Only just got the Trinity Force, so can now start clearing out some of these waves a little bit more effectively. But the sivir as well, not even at 2 items yet. We're only 18 minutes in.
Yeah, and still 3-level difference between Alphari and Soaz. I mean, you're 19 minutes into this game. You have got to be able to just continue to turtle. And Origen, knowing this, can take everything they want on the map. You do see Misfits, though, moving towards this Baron really quickly to get some vision down in it. And instantly it's sniffed out by PowerOfEvil.
I would love to know what the discussion was when they decided to back away from the turret, because I feel like they could have committed to it. Like, I took another look at the number of minions in the wave, and there was maybe enough with 3 people there to take it down. I mean, at that point...
It's still there, by the way.
Yeah, it is still there. Without seeing the replay, I can't say this for sure, but I don't even know whether, like, expending maybe somebody or a summoner at that point is actually... would probably have been more worthwhile, because Alphari wouldn't have been in this situation.
Yeah,
Still,
I mean, hindsight's 20/20,
like,
but still.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want to say that without the replay specifically, like, being there and definitively knowing at that point, but when you look at it, like, actually deciding to back away is a real tough call.
Yeah, and it certainly proved not to be the correct one so far. Origen continuing to grow this lead. They've got 6,500 on Misfits and counting. And they keep on taking jungle away. So it's not only Alphari who's getting punished, but Lamabear, who's had one of the closest CS games that we've seen. He's still technically ahead of Amazing, but I mean, it's rough all around if you're Misfits.
Yeah, it's fairly rough for Misfits in this game. It's been a good job from Origen.
After such a good series for them too. I mean, yes, they've made mistakes that have sunk them, but never one quite that big, with the exception of maybe Selfie going in 1v5.
In the last game as well, when you look at it, was such a dominant performance out from Misfits that to have that turned around on them now, and Origen being basically in the position that Misfits were in the last game.
Yeah, turnabout's fair play.
It's going to be a tough pill to swallow for Misfits, because this game, they just have not been able to get into it.
Yeah.
There is still a chance. If Origen don't, bait around this Baron, try and force out a couple of, objectives, maybe try and get a pick off if they can. If Origen don't make those plays and sit back, then Misfits will just quietly farm their way up.
Soaz, though, I think is the big important factor here for Origen right now, because he's been the one who's not only bullying Alphari and been keeping him down a good chunk of this game, but he's also the one with the kills. Yes, Power's got the one, and he's still fairly powerful, but that's like a big difference of it is the difference between the two top laners. And if Soaz isn't in the right place at the right time, this could change.
Well, he's a whole item ahead right now.
He also has many ways to get in and out of fights, so hard for him to be in the wrong place.
Ultimate also will keep him alive, so even if he does drop low, can just pop that ulti. Still 3-level disparity as Alphari is trying to farm his way back up, but Soaz is jumping on him in the bottom lane again.
And that is the level difference. Also, the Rip-Tailed Baron is started immediately. They peel off of it.
Yeah, immediately they peel because of the blue trinket. So they've already got the one trinket. So now it allows them to control the vision. They're going to shove out mid first, while Soaz is holding bottom lane. Because essentially, if nobody comes to help Alphari here, Soaz will continue to push this now.
Oh, but they found Xpeke, who flashes right over the wall. Arrow comes in. Xpeke's down. Hans Sama, just like that.
How did they catch him out there? Xpeke must have been overextending, perhaps. We need to see the lead up to that fight, because Origen were in a position where they should have been able to just play fairly conservatively and safe to end up continually baiting the Baron. This is a mistake that Origen have made a couple of times here, and that is Xpeke being caught out on his own.
2 summoners blown
too. Both the summoners. What even? So Xpeke and Hybrid were here. The recall from Amazing left him, and Xpeke just goes away from the team, so ends up dying to Hans Sama. This is the mobility that the sivir will afford Misfits, so a little bit given over to the Misfits team now.
Yeah, Hans Sama.
Going to slow down slightly.
Soaz is still pecking away at this tower here. Alphari not giving him any chance to really dive in. Amazing and Hybrid trying to get the pressure on in the mid lane, but that has brought a little bit of hope here for Misfits.
It's just enough right now to maybe cling on to as something. It's not enough to turn the game. Let's
definitely
be
not. You need at least a dozen more of those before you're going to start to get back in the lead.
I don't know about a dozen, but
a large number.
Yeah. Soaz now
at least 5, stress.
Soaz is having a little difficulty from pushing through onto the tower just because the wave clear that comes through.
But Origen aren't on the mid.
But now here comes the dive.
Yep. Phase dive specifically.
And again, we talked about that in the previous game. Put that parallel convergence down, stops people from defending the turret. Nice little move from Soaz up to the mid lane. Misfits were holding fairly well there, but Hans Sama knew that if he died, that was basically more than the turret going down.
Yeah, Origen can keep doing this.
Alphari has to try and step forward with the barrels, but finally gets the clear.
He's got that. Okay, so but Origen still managed to get at least one off of that. 5 towers to, remember, 0. They didn't get the one in the bottom. They haven't been able to get one since. Origen have held Misfits blank. And those 5 towers, I mean, there's a huge gold lead, but a lot of it is in that.
Yeah, a massive amount of it is in that. The 5 towers that are different between the two. You can see the farm leads. It's really only Alphari that has a massive advantage. I guess PowerOfEvil does as well.
Yeah, they need to make this happen once again. PowerOfEvil blows his flash really quickly just to get out of harm's way. Second Mountain Drake goes over. Origen, well, forget about baiting the Baron. They might be able to rush it pretty quick. And speaking of rushing, Misfits are looking...
They're getting the vision.
Try and collapse around.
That's all they're doing is getting vision control. They can't even push up to top here. Selfie has to be aware that Soaz is there. So it's just a vision game. Misfits want to make sure that there is no sneak Baron potential out from Origen. Origen turning around their lanes as well. Top lane being pushed back out by Soaz forces Misfits to lose a lot of the vision control they have of their own jungle.
Yeah, Soaz just keeps on going. Anywhere he is, Alphari is going to have trouble, that's for sure, so he sits on the bottom side. Meanwhile, Xpeke Amazing continue to take all of the jungle away from Lamabear.
But Alphari can neutralize this entire wave by Alphari by running up there with the barrels now, and then he can defend bot or mid with the cannon barrage. So this is a game for Misfits of just sitting back. It's going to be a long game if Misfits are going to come back in this. But they have the GP, they have the sivir, they have Karma to keep them all alive, and Gragas to disengage fights with the braum too. So they have a composition that can tuck in as long as Origen do not get themselves the Baron buff. That is the real make or break moment.
That's going to be the big change. We're 25 minutes into this one, and Origen have kept it pressure on, but slow and steady. Misfits have just been trying to hang on to anything they can as Amazing comes right back in, rings the dinner bell. Alphari still grabbing as much farm as he possibly can get his hands on. 3 dragons all gone the way of Origen. Another Infernal is about to spawn, not about to spawn, but it's going to be a ways to spawn. And that tower in the bottom still standing.
Still standing for Origen, man. Very rare you see 0 towers taken 26 minutes.
In a lane swap.
In a lane swap, yeah. Deficio tweeted with some expletives I'm going to censor out that it's very rare that you see a team mess up a lane swap before the first tower. Yesterday, Millennium did it. Today, Misfits have done it. So, very rare. But I guess that's one of the aspects that Challenger teams do not have over the LCS teams. And that, as we said time and time again, we expect all 10 teams in the LCS to be able to lane swap proficiently enough to dominate Challenger teams in that scenario.
Yeah, it's a litmus test, and unfortunately for Misfits, in the final game of this series, they did not pass it. It's going to be such a rough climb back into this game. The gold leads crept up just shy of 8,000, and Origen can just keep doing whatever they want. Soaz
be getting punished.
He's taking a lot of tower damage, but he ults out.
But again, this is the kind of thing. Misfits are holding on for long enough right now that it is starting to turn ever so slightly away from Origen's massive lead. But again, Origen are going to try and secure control of vision around Baron.
At one point, do they start it off? Do they try to get Misfits to come and play their game? Find out. It's amazing. It's Hans Sama, Ignar jumps right in front of it. The barrel comes out here. They're going to pop up Amazing. Do they have the damage to finish anyone off? Hybrid is going low. They're pinging. Soaz is on the way. Misfits have to back off.
Oh, they can't get caught in this stun here. Soaz gets denied. Alphari used the cannon barrage already, and he's running up to the fight.
Ignar's real low, though. Misfits, they are just clearing the wave out, and Origen have, for the most part, backed off. Amazing goes to base, and then instantly ults right on in. Doesn't want to go through mid lane. And actually split. Ignar's very low. Soaz nearly punished him for it, and look at where they're headed, straight towards Baron.
Yeah, Origen again, just going to try and drag them into this choke point, but all of the ultimates are still fairly down. Hang on.
Soaz, he's on to Alphari here, but Soaz is going really low in this one. Selfie takes him out! Origen have lost one just like that.
Soaz took a massive amount of damage from, it looked like Selfie and Alphari combined there. A little too deep, did not have his ultimate, and because of how far ahead he's been in this game, this is quite a long death timer, so Misfits are able to kind of secure control back of their jungle and maybe push Origen back away from the Baron pit. This is the kind of turnaround that they were looking for, and a bit of an overextension by Soaz while his ult wasn't there.
20 seconds still on him before he can come right back up, and Ignar, a little emboldened here, moves his way forward. The rest of Misfits will be able to secure some vision. Let's see it again. Soaz wants to finish the job.
So he was recalling out. What stops him? It looks like a stun onto Alphari that he just used the remove scurvy on, and then big burst of damage from the Q and from the barrel. And Soaz.
Yeah, that's the face of a man who went a little too deep.
Yeah, we've seen similar reactions from Soaz in other areas of the map before. With some overextensions, this time characteristic when it comes to the team fight going in alone. Thought he could take out Alphari, but unfortunately there was enough members around. Origen trying to force this lead. We talked about it. If they don't play this out carefully, Misfits have got a good turtling comp.
Yeah, and Selfie gets some gold back in his pocket. There's a lot of vision around this Baron pit, so they can breathe a little bit easier. Still a tight game for them as we close in on 30 minutes. Misfits doing all they can to turtle. Alphari has managed to get himself nice and farmed up a bit more. Still way down on Soaz, but he's got a handful of items to work with.
We heard the analyst desk and Trashy talking about how, if this game, if the games in the series go late, then they favor Origen. honestly, Origen are looking a little shaky on closing this game out. They have a good lead, but Misfits have done a great job of holding on with this comp.
And there's 18 seconds on the next dragon to come up. Question here is, do Misfits
Origen
can fight this one? Air? Oh boy.
They just saw the recall, I believe.
It's going low fast. You got double Mountain Drakes. They're going to peel off of it.
Though.
Okay, forced him off just with showing the presence. Origen getting a little bit antsy. 2 ults used. Hans Sama and Lamabear immediately backing off with it.
Backing off, but now Origen are just going to go reset on the Baron. Selfie's about to show in the top lane again. They're going to try and rush it down. Hang on, Hans Sama went to the red buff. Hans Sama is so far out here that they cannot afford this fight. It has to somehow be Lamabear looking for the steal.
Oh, he's looking to come in, flashing. Can he get it? He stole it away! That might be what they needed! Soaz in the back causing havoc as Power of Evil is trying to pick up some kills. Peke gets a double, but they have walked out with the Baron. Soaz going in for Hans Sama. Can't finish the job.
Wasn't expecting to find 2 in that bush, and that means that Origen lose out on the Baron buff. 3 members of Misfits have that Baron buff still on them, and it's the wave clear members as well. They still have Sivir, they still have gangplank, which means they can hang on here. You can see Origen trying to get something done in the top lane and in the mid lane simultaneously, but Alphari already focused on pushing away the bottom lane. Origen are going to take a consolation prize of the Infernal Drake here, but it is not worth the Baron buff. However, Origen will now extend their dragons to 4, and all 4 of them are influential, as Elder Drake will be the next one to spawn.
What a big oversight as Lamabear steps right into that and steals it away. Yes, they lose 2. Let's take a look one more time. They were not watching the back of the pit.
What happens here? The ward has gone, so Lamabear goes in and just body slam flashes like Amazing did smite.
Ooh, they nearly got power.
No, Amazing didn't smite. I was looking at gragas smite that Amazing didn't get the smite off. Should have been able to, but just missed it by a moment. And I mean, Misfits come away with that.
Yeah, I mean, they lose out another dragon, but that's so much harder to contest at the moment anyways. And again, they hold on by the skin of their teeth. It's so difficult, but they didn't lose too much in the back half of it, just giving over the dragon. Yes, Origen are going to have so many advantages because of that, and the Elder Drake's going to make them really worry the next time a dragon comes up, but we've still got quite some time before that happens.
And only losing 2 was the important thing for Misfits, showing a little bit more reservation than we've seen from them in previous games. Selfie did die during that, but it didn't really matter at that point. No ardent sensor out of him yet. He's gone the 8
He's
build,
going damage.
looking for damage, but look at the farm on PowerOfEvil.
Yeah.
The side lane.
Yeah, that's about as much as Soaz has over Alphari at this point. But it was a lot worse when it was, 10 to 60.
Yeah, works out that between mid and top, that's where 4,000 of the gold lead is coming from. The other... Oh, hang on, Ignar.
Oh, he's caught. He is going to be down unless he can get out of damage. I don't think so. Power of Evil picks him up, and Selfie takes the arrow.
Origen is still strong when it comes to these fights if they can catch him out. Despite the Baron buff going over, Origen are going to look for another turret here, extend it to 6-0. Still, Misfits haven't killed a turret in 33 minutes. We are cresting their average game time for Challenger for the entire split, and they haven't managed to take a single turret yet.
And barrels just keep on getting ticked down. Origen finishing the job off. They don't have any more minions to run right in, but this Baron buff isn't really helping that much with the minions barely able to march out of the base. Origen got just about everything they wanted there.
They got enough to delay Misfits. They couldn't push out with a Baron buff because of how comparatively strong Origen are. They cannot afford really to fight head on. Whew, this is a very, very tense game because one mistake from Misfits is likely to just end the game. You have to play it very carefully. They push up for their first tower of the game.
Oh, they should be able to.
They're going to take this fairly.
Yeah, but Power's right on the backside. Oh, that's a lot of damage. They finally finish it. Get themselves more. Now they can start moving out a little bit further. They've broken 1 tower. They were not held to 0. Let's take a look once again at Ignar and how this all got started.
Well, just straying too far into the jungle. Had vision, but not of PowerOfEvil at that point. Oof.
Yeah, he stood in front of him instead of behind.
I mean, the first tower, I guess, for Misfits is going to be the hardest, so the subsequent towers now should be easier.
You would think. I mean, there's one on the bottom that's looking pretty low.
If you were to make like a motivational poster about this game, it would be like, the first tower is always the hardest.
Yeah, 33 minutes hard.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, Origen has still got a really sizable lead. Elder's coming up in, 5-6 minutes or so. Misfits just can't get anything on the map. They just need to keep on turtling. They need to keep on denying. And Origen, if they just can't end it, well, the longer the game goes, the more even things start to look. But it's going to be hard. Arrow comes in, it nails Selfie. There's no way they can collapse on it, though.
Yeah, so the engage tool is down now as Misfits, without the Baron buff anymore, just turning waves around
normally.
In the normal way. Just going to wave clear it out. Whew.
Oh yeah, it's
There's
tough.
so much turtle in this game. I think the Misfits have had, in addition to their casting, their coaching staff is shredder.
Well, let's see if they can go ninja on Origen. It's going to be hard.
Look, as long as it's not Michael Bay's version, okay?
Let's just pretend that didn't happen.
I want the cartoon version. That's what I want. Don't give me none of this like newer stuff.
No, I'm not even listening anymore. All right, so Misfits keep on doing what they need to. They keep on trying to fight it back, but you know they've lost just so much ground. They're pretty much confined to their base and just outside of it. So Origen just can pretty much run them anywhere they want. They can choose the Baron or Elder. They're up at roughly the same time. They'll probably just get both.
They probably will get both, but Origen last time.
Yeah.
So
Lamabear's been the hero.
That was a massive play out of Lamabear to smite that down. But Origen, since the Baron expires, have actually extended their gold lead
Hold up
again.
here. No, they're not in position to collapse on power. I mean, there's so much vision. It's so hard for Misfits to get a collapse anywhere.
Power has flash up as well. God, we are getting well into the late game for the second or third time in this series. And man, this is a very, very tense moment. If you did join us late in this series, this is a best of 5 to determine which of these two teams will enter the LCS for the spring split in 2017. This one game separates these teams from being in or having to play again on Sunday. They will face Roccat. No, they will face Schalke. If you'll excuse me.
That's all right.
Roccat actually won earlier today.
Spoilers, man.
Yeah, but look,
I know.
people are joining. They heard the analyst desk talk about it earlier.
Yeah.
Sorry if it was spoilers.
Nah, you're right. All right, so the waiting game really now is to see where they go for first, the Elder or the Baron. My guess is on the Baron right now, but there's just so much vision and there's so much control. They pushed every single wave up.
Lamabear wants to
Misfits need to just find a pick, but Origen immediately sniffing that one out. And look at Soaz continually taking a bat to the bottom side.
Amazing does not have his ultimate available to cross the map, though, so he's going to have to run it over as soon as he wants to. But he can cross a fair amount of distance fairly quick.
Hang on. It's on to Ignar. Get a volley off, but that's it.
He's pretty tanky as well. Karma Shield comes out, is able to reposition. Baron is up in 5. Elder Dragon is already on the Rift.
Here we go.
This
Are they going to two-man this?
that Origen need to hold on for. If they can take this Baron, it basically guarantees them their spot in the LCS. Already down to 7,000 health.
Oh boy, see if they can. Cannon Barrage is on, instantly flashing from Xpeke, but they find Hybrid. The Baron's already gone, but so is Hybrid. They get one, but Baron on 4 members of Origen. Misfits now hotly retreating over to Dragon.
Amazing is going to push for an inhib while the Elder Drake is getting taken down. Amazing wants to do critical damage.
Soaz is stopping the backs. No, Misfits are going for Elder here. But yes, Amazing is doing so much damage. He's not going to be able to get the smite off, but can Soaz deter them? This one should go down in favor of Misfits. They will get the smite, but Amazing is doing so much.
Okay, TP coming back from Selfie for now, but they do lose
another TP. Alphari's coming too.
Because Soaz is still trying to stop the recalls. Hans Sama is in trouble here. Oh,
they've gotten out. They got Elder and they lost an inhib for it, but that's the best you can hope for. And they picked up Hybrid.
I don't know. I don't actually know whether that is the best that they can go for, because now they're playing with supers in the top lane and Baroned up minions in both mid and bot. I don't know whether that was worth it. I think Alphari perhaps should have looked to TP straight to that turret.
Oh, Ignar.
He's going to be fine. Soaz doesn't want to go on this because Soaz knows that is overextending, but now with 1 wave pushing in and 2 waves about to have super minions in them with teleport available from Soaz and no real way of regrouping on the map for Misfits, this is going to be a very tough hold.
See if they can pull it off. They've tried for 39 minutes. They've been able to hold things off. Still 1 tower to 7. That one in the bottom from the failed lane swap still haunting them this game as Misfits desperately try to hold on for their chances to qualify into the LCS. We're getting close to 40 right now. Baron empowered minions are going to face off against an Elder Drake. No extra empowerments there, and Ignar gets nailed. Do they have enough damage? Not quite yet. They're not pushing on it. Amazing. Oh, power is very low. Cannon Barrage coming in. They are hesitant to fight this out, though, and Xpeke is right on the front line.
You can see Misfits are just looking for one fight against Origen. They need to somehow ace them. Like, a clean ace will turn this game around. It won't end it because Misfits have to chunk through 10 remaining towers if they want to take all of them for some reason.
It's a marathon.
It is a lot of towers to take down against the Baron buff up and now super minions in the top lane. Like, this is going to require 2 back-to-back aces likely for Misfits.
They don't get collapsed on first.
Yeah, unless
they
they can get a clean one.
Oh, okay, they knock it. Power of Evil! He's gone golden for just a second, but the barrel will pop on him. Hans Sama picks him up, and Soaz is bailing out. Instantly, they've lost one man. They don't think they can do anymore. Amazing is down on the bottom side, and Misfits, some new life in them right now, but Soaz is going to start to punish on the top side.
Yeah, Soaz may have to be careful here and think about backing away. He's going to give the Baron buff up to those minions. Alphari will come over and clear. They can't really do too much about Soaz, but Hans Sama wants this selfie.
Oh, they've got the Inspire on and flashing forward, making sure he can force him back into the base. Soaz is going to be doing his damnedest to dodge, flashing away. He's going to be met by Lamabear here, but they're gunning for him. Meanwhile, Amazing on the bottom side. Soaz, he's going for the towers right now. He should be able to take it out, but no, he's going to get popped. Guardian Angel is up, but there's still super minions incoming. And on another front, the rest of Origen have opened. The tower is saved, but down on the bottom, they take an inhib.
That's a second inhib going down. Soaz manages to run the gauntlet, get past 5 members of Misfits, and almost take out a Nexus turret. But it was all a distraction as the rest of Origen were taking down the bottom lane inhib. Now the turnaround really is difficult for Misfits. Their Elder Dragon has just expired. Baron buff has expired as well, and Origen have 2 waves of super minions pushing towards the Misfits base. Top inhib is due up fairly soon, but Misfits will have to play off bottom lane for a lot longer now. It'll still be down before the Baron comes up again.
There is a ward in the base, and if there's one thing I know about Soaz, there is not a lot that man won't do when he thinks he can finish off the game himself.
Has the TP available as well. With minions, maybe he can do it. This was the engage onto PowerOfEvil, catching him out. We saw that happen earlier in one of the previous games. Lamabear just going over the wall with Gragas to get it. And then it was all about the same. Hang on, Misfits are actually setting up the same thing again right now as we look at the live action, but they backed themselves away. Alphari might be caught in the top lane. I'm keeping a track of this on my monitor while we're going, because there is the potential that this just explodes very quickly. Soaz running the gauntlet. I think we actually have to go back to live. Misfits are going to go. Misfits are going.
They are going to go on this one right now. Oh, that was close. PowerOfEvil does take some damage. Arrow flies. It hits Selfie, but instantly Ignar goes up. But Soaz, he goes in, and Selfie is nearly taken down to 0. PowerOfEvil, though, is deleted by Hans Sama. And now Amazing wants to finish off Selfie, who just keeps backing away. Ignar giving his life. Amazing getting the drop. But Soaz, it's going to get popped. No GA for him. Alphari can't finish it. What is happening?
Misfits are holding. That's what's happening, Pyra. They have managed to hold on for now. They need to back away with Hans Sama, heal up, and deal with top and bot because they have to play this fight again in 2 minutes' time for the Baron buff. Origen, they don't have the waves top and bottom. They cannot push in for the win. And Misfits are going to defend. This was the beginning of the engage. I was getting very antsy watching this on my live preview here as Misfits decided to pop the Sivir ultimate and the Karma Inspire. PowerOfEvil got blasted away from Misfits, and this is the rest of the fight. We saw Selfie surviving on such little health there, but the shields, the heals, everything, and PowerOfEvil just popped in this fight. Hans Sama stayed alive, Selfie stayed alive as well, and here is where the AoE damage from Misfits in the late game can actually reign supreme. They take out Soaz. He didn't have any of his tools available to stay alive, and it results in Misfits holding. This game has been an incredible hold by Misfits, and again, Soaz frustrated in these team fights, trying to get into the backline to deal the damage, but he just can't quite get it done. Misfits have managed to hold on from 25 minutes after being so far behind against Origen.
We talked about this game looking so much like
damage.
That's ridiculous. And it's Alphari is not even the highest. I mean, you've got Hans Sama doing ridiculous damage. This was looking like game number 1 all over again. Big mistakes, or at least one big mistake, and Origen was going to clinically take it. But now it's looking like game 2, except in reverse. Origen were the ones that had such a massive lead, and they couldn't finish the job. The goal difference doesn't mean so much anymore. The towers are still important, but one fight will decide a lot of it.
Well, Misfits have been in damage control for 40 minutes off a botched lane swap. It's almost unheard of to mess up a lane swap quite that hard and be
not
able to
instantly
hang
lose.
on. Yeah, exactly. Especially being like 8,000 gold behind. Origen had done a really good job of pushing back Misfits, taking down inhibitors, taking any fight that they can, but the Baron steal initially helped Misfits stay in. Now they've had a few fights back-to-back that have actually saved them. Now they have to be very careful because Soaz is leading the charge on the supers down in the bottom lane. Alphari has his TP, so does Soaz, so that's who we're looking for, but Misfits' game right now is deny another Baron going over to Origen. That is all they need to make sure that they don't give away, because again, they are playing into Origen making a mistake. If Origen rush this down when they're not quite prepared, Misfits can capitalize.
Xpeke and Power, they're moving their way there. Amazing is also around. They want to dare to start this one off with 3 members. I do not think so, and Soaz just keeps hanging on this bottom side. Oh, Alphari is there on a wave clear duty. He's got no problems, but one inhibitor did come back up in the top side. The other one still to come. Still a few more super minions marching.
That top Nexus tower as well for Misfits is back up above half health. It will regen slowly. Amazing's heading to the bot side.
Okay,
Trying to see if
around.
he can find anybody, but he might get caught out here if he's not careful.
Misfits also have to be very careful, sticking together. As Alphari continually pushes on the bottom side, inhibitor comes back up. Let's see if they mix it up back towards the Baron pit. Oh, this
Soaz spotted out there.
Oh,
He's looking for Hans Sama.
Okay, Lamabear has to hop the wall. Scout of the weak, Power just clearing the wave, and now they're boogieing for the Baron.
Origen don't seem to have an answer here. They're kind of stumped here against Misfits. They can't get any picks off. They can't push the waves out because the wave clear from Misfits is too strong, and the team fighting from Misfits is exceptionally strong this late into the game. So Origen needs some good fortune from perhaps Misfits having Hans Sama out of position. He doesn't have a Guardian Angel. He doesn't have Flash.
Oh, they found Selfie, but Ignar is right there as always, stunned up. In comes the parallel convergence. Selfie, though, is able to walk through the rest of the team.
They have to peel for Hans Sama. It has been a mistake they have made time and time again in this series. Hans Sama doesn't have Flash, so if he gets engaged upon or hit by any kind of crowd control, this is a real tough ask.
He has been very slowly creeping his way up in the damage, but amazing now. Onto Ignar. They don't want this fight, but Soaz is on Hans Sama now. This could be trouble. Soaz, though, the rest of the team's there, and he short ranges it, going back. Meanwhile, Ignar tanking damage. Cannon barrage in the front, and Amazing is peeling out the back way. Soaz nearly bought it.
They've done enough to hold on for now. Again, for Misfits, it has been the same story for the last 20 minutes. They have held on, and Hans Sama holding his nerve, used the heal. The Flash is nearly available. Origen are going to try and rush down the Baron.
Ignar's not here.
Catch them without a lot of their summoners and their abilities available.
Selfie is, oh, this is going to be insane. They have to fight this out. Barrel's going to get popped. Baron's already down there. Soaz turns onto Selfie. Has to flash away. Big barrel for the disengage. Can Misfits escape? Once again, Amazing going in. He's getting chunked, but not as much as Selfie.
Hans Sama's
Shut down. Hans Sama is out of there. And now Origen are charging down the line. And this is going to be it. Selfie goes gold, but he won't be going LCS today. GG, Origen.
Origen are just going to close this one out. One fight to end it has held on to their LCS spot. Only Lamabear remains. Origen, after a slugfest of a series, are going to swat past the Challenger Series best from summer. The hype wasn't enough. Origen will hold on to their spot.
Just by the skin of their teeth, they'll do it. Don't even need the minions just yet. Lamabear there for the defense, but that's just not going to be enough. Origen should be able to close this one out. Just allow themselves a moment to breathe and finish the job. Amazing is right back in there. The last Nexus turret's going to fall. Lamabear fighting to the last, but he goes down in the end, and it is all Nexus. Origen, welcome back to the LCS!